Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pangbourne College's Founders' Day, and well done for braving the weather. I'm Andrew Bond. I'm not the chairman. I'm his deputy, but unfortunately, the chairman can't be with us today, but he's asked me to say a few words. He's written them out here, so I'm going to read his very short introduction, then I'll give you my words. He says, "I'm sorry I cannot be with you today, but a family wedding has meant that I cannot be in two places at once. I am, though, with you in spirit on the day when we come together as a community to offer our thanks to Thomas and Alex Garnier for 19 years of dedication to Pangbourne. Thomas and Alex are in all our thoughts today." He goes on to say, "Times are uncertain following the general election this week, and I hope Andrew will cover more of this. Our aim is to keep in close contact with you, our community, when decisions become necessary." So, these are my words. Please may I start by extending a very warm welcome to all pupils, parents and staff here on Founders' Day. The head will formally introduce our guest speaker, Mark Hutchinson, and tell you a lot more about him. But I'd like to extend my personal welcome to him on behalf of Patrick, our chairman, and my fellow governors. And we all look forward very much to hearing what you have to say. To the staff, that's operational and teaching, a huge thank you for your dedication and your commitment. From all accounts, the Upper Six have been a vintage year, and I wish you all a very successful future, wherever you go and whatever your journey takes you. Thank you for your hard work, your leadership, and your contribution to the wider life of this college. Change, that's the word we've been hearing a lot about recently. Change is in the air wherever we look. I will speak about Thomas and Alex Garnier's departure and their dedicated service in a moment. Before I do that, I cannot stand here today in front of you all without referring to the events on Thursday night and Friday morning. Power was handed by the electorate to the Labour Party, bringing to an end 14 years of Conservative-led government. Whatever our individual views and our politics, it was a momentous event in our country's history, as power passed during the watches of the night from one party to another. Of course, as you well know, this change means that the long-anticipated and expected VAT on independent school fees will become a reality in what is likely to be the government's first budget. The detail has yet to be worked out, but we know there will be a major impact on you, the parents and the guardians, who will be asked to pay an extra sum towards the school fees. The governors are always aware of the enormous sacrifice that you already make to pay your children's school fees. That never goes unnoticed or unthanked. The governors and the senior leadership team here at the college have long been taking advice as they endeavoured to plan for this unwelcome change. But until the detail, as I say, is published, there's not a lot more that can be done. There will, hopefully, be ways to mitigate the impact of this tax. And you can rest assured no stone will be left unturned as we try to reduce this financial burden. The college will work with you and keep you fully appraised of all the changes and give you as much support and advice as we possibly can. We have faced many challenges in the past 100 years of the college's history, and there is no reason why we cannot work together and overcome this one. It will be, as we say, Team Pangbourne at its very best. Thomas and Alex Garnier arrived here at Pangbourne 19 years ago. At the interview, he was head and shoulders, quite literally, above the other applicants and was the outstanding candidate for the post. However, this was not a job application, but an answer to a much deeper calling. Both he and Alex felt called by God to this place and have dedicated their inspirational service over the last 2 decades has been nothing short of outstanding. Thomas has been a head who has always put the well-being and the personal development of the pupils first and foremost, alongside a deep sense of care for his colleagues. His introduction of the flag values in 2006 was an inspiration, ahead of its time. Successive school inspections are evidence, if we needed it, of his tenure. Another former and a very distinguished head, who himself is an old Pangbournian, says, "This is a school which nurtures personal development and leadership skills, making Pangbournians very employable in the global marketplace." With Alex at his side, Thomas has created a community, our community, where the individual can flourish. His successor, Oliver Knight, has already stated that he is determined that the unique ethos of the college will be maintained at all costs. Parting is a sweet sorrow. Indeed it is. All our English teachers will know where that quote comes from. So as you leave this place, you have felt called to and have led with such skill, with love and care. You do so with all our best wishes, and with our gratitude, our thanks, and our prayers. We all hope that whatever the next chapter brings you, it will be an inspirational one for you, as you have been to this community, this college, and this place that you have called home. Thomas and Alex, our heartfelt thanks and our gratitude. Godspeed.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for those very, very kind words, which mean a huge amount to Alex and me. I'd just like to check that everyone can hear me. The nods all around, that's brilliant, thank you. I've got a bit of a reputation for blubbing in speeches, and I understand my colleagues are running a sweepstake on when I'll cry this morning, but there may be several potential moments. Before I get to that, as you've noticed, we've changed the order for the day. Thank you for being here, and apologies to any whose stress levels may have risen to stratospheric in order to cope with the change. After this, there'll be refreshments on the parade ground, by which time it'll have stopped raining, he said confidently, with all the omnipotence that a head thinks he likes to have. And then we'll do the parade, Founders Day parade, and then a shorter break and go straight into the beat retreat. So that's the plan for the morning. Unfortunately, and you won't be surprised to hear this, the pitch is unplayable, and the cricket match this afternoon has had to be cancelled. So that's a shame, but I'm sorry about that. Now, before I get to the core of my speech, I want to welcome and introduce our guest of honour, Mr. Mark Hutchinson. After studying history at Cambridge, Mark started his career qualifying as a chartered accountant before moving into finance roles in the advertising industry. In the mid-1990s, he moved into management consultancy, becoming a partner at KPMG in 2005. And he subsequently became head of management consulting for KPMG in the UK and for the EMEA region, before moving to EY, where he was partner responsible for strategic growth and acquisitions. Since then, he's been a board member of a West African impact fund, has worked with African power developers to finance large-scale renewable energy projects, and advisor and mentor to a series of technology startups. And he's currently a partner at Tequila, a venture firm that builds technology service companies. He's also a trustee of the EY Foundation and Emmaus Road Church in Guildford. He's a long-standing interest in the positive impact business can have in creating opportunity and economic growth, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. He's run several ultramarathons, including the Marathon des Sables, a 250-kilometre race across the Sahara Desert, and he's also what he describes as a struggling musician, performing under the name of Muntjac, and to date has over 500,000 streams of his music on the main music streaming platforms. So as you can see, he's had a varied career, and he's a man of varied interests. Mark, thank you for accepting my invitation to come today, and we look forward to hearing from you later on. Now, we're up against the clock this morning, so rather than the usual form of speaking about some of the highlights of the past year, I've asked the Chief Cadet Captains to touch on this when they speak in a few minutes about their experience at Pangbourne. And I hope you'll forgive me if instead I take a broader view. When I was appointed head in 2005, late February 2005, I received a flurry of letters from well-wishers. These included Peter Points and Anthony Hudson, two of my predecessors. Peter described Pangbourne as an unusual school with strong loyalties and enthusiasms. Anthony warned me that the college would get under your skin and that it will be your first love. Quite powerful language that even then resonated with me, having seen something in my two upper sixth guides during the interview process, Rob Allen and Sarah Pyatt, which was compelling and overcame the impression of freezing cold and crumbling buildings, which were my two other takeaways from my tour around the site. 7 years later, and I was feeling the itch, as many people do after that length of time, and wondering if it was time to move on as a family. And at the OP dinner that year, I was sitting next to Peter Points, who was headmaster from 1969 to 1988, what seemed like an impossibly long innings of 19 years. He was dynamic even then, and I asked him why he'd stayed so long. He thought for a moment and replied simply, I liked it. I liked the people. I liked the place. Pangbourne's a wonderful place to live, and I liked what we were offering. I felt I could do more here than at a larger school. And again, I found what he said resonated. And although I never envisaged staying as long as we have, and turning his words around, both Alex and I have believed in the value of our ethos, have liked the area and the beautiful environment, and have loved the people. Most of them, at any rate. So what is it that's special about Pangbourne? Among those letters, Vice Admiral Sir John Webster, a former chair of the governing body, wrote to me in 2005 saying, I don't need to tell you that it's a one-off. The trick is to keep the balance between its differences from most schools and its similarities. And by similarities, he meant the things that are expected in all schools like ours. Commitment to ensuring excellent teaching that helps all pupils to learn and make progress, commitment to offering a range of broadening opportunities outside the classroom, commitment to strong pastoral care for boarding and day pupils alike, and commitment to improving the environment, to supporting those things. Successive inspections and other means of tracking progress have charted our improvement in most of those areas. And in terms of facilities, we've spent more than £16 million in the last 19 years improving them. But I've learned that the bar is always rising. And of course, we still have more to do. I really do believe, that the timetable change next year will help us. And I'm sure that Mr. Ollie Knight, my successor, will do his utmost with my staff colleagues to ensure it delivers the improvements in academic and sporting quality, which we hope for in particular. The trick is to keep the balance between its differences from most schools and its similarities. And I've greatly enjoyed working with Mr. Knight over the last year, and I sense he understands the trick and is keen to maintain the balance, as Andrew just said. From my perspective, in terms of differences from other schools, 3 come to mind. The first, perhaps most obviously, concerns our ceremonial traditions. My first career was as a naval officer, but even so, the first college Sunday I attended made a powerful impression. I love the fact that parade involves every pupil from year 9 to the upper 6th, and all of them are learning lessons in self-discipline, teamwork, and performance, which in turn develop confidence. For the upper 6th, it's a brilliant vehicle for practicing leadership skills, and overall, because if it's worth doing, has to be done well, the traditions teach lessons about standards and the work which is needed to achieve them. They don't happen by accident. High standards require preparation and practice, and a willingness to trust others to play their part, and to turn up yourself and be your best self. All transferable attitudes. I love the fact that Pangbourne does the big occasions so well. College Sundays, Remembrance Sunday, the Falkland Islands service of Remembrance and Thanksgiving, Founders' Day, royal visits in 2007, 2017 and 2022 all come immediately to mind. But I can add open mornings, the amazing classic car show organised by Tom Cheney, even the recent hustings and the mock election organised by Ben MacLeod, and countless other events which rely on staff and pupils and often parent volunteers working together, always to impressive effect. Even more than the occasion, I love seeing Team Pangbourne in action. And that's a segue to my second difference, the sense of community. Those big occasions and the numerous other interdivisional competitions such as Div Music and Div Drama, the 100%, the Div Sport events, all serve to strengthen ties, not only between pupils at all levels of the college, but also with staff and parents. Education is, at its best, a relational activity which involves not just the transmission of knowledge from teacher to pupil, but also interaction and connection between people, the establishment of relationships, understanding and collaboration. A strong sense of community, therefore, encourages learning and fosters social and emotional development by creating an environment in which relationships can flourish. I'm often asked by prospective families what my favourite aspect of the college is. And my answer is, and it's always been this, is that it's the quarter of an hour or so just after a parade has ended. A rather chaotic time when pupils, parents, friends and staff are mingling together, but it's always seemed to me to be a very happy time. There's a buzz which, if I could bottle it, would make selling the college a doddle. There's a mix of pride and friendship and sense of belonging, which of course is what community should be about. Community is more than just people gathering together, however. It depends on a shared agreement about what values and standards matter. And for me, the third difference is the Christian ethos of the college, which places as much priority on the people our pupils become, on their character, as it does on what they achieve. And this ethos is expressed in our flag values: kindness, selflessness, moral courage, industry, initiative, resilience, respect, and integrity, introduced in 2006 and underpinned, I believe crucially so, by two ideas. The idea that everyone, whoever they are, possesses infinite dignity and worth. How many minutes was that? Sorry. Whoever they are possesses infinite dignity and worth because God made them in his image and therefore deserves to be treated with kindness. And the second idea being that all of us fail to live like those made in God's image should do, and therefore need forgiveness ourselves and ought to be ready to forgive others. Jesus Christ not only perfectly models the flag values and shows us what it looks like to treat others with dignity and kindness, but he also shows us how we can be forgiven and can give us the means to forgive others. And I have to beg your forgiveness if you think I'm being preachy, but for me, a so-called Christian ethos, which airbrushes Jesus out, as quite a lot of schools seem to do in practice, is an ethos without power. I was clear about that when I was interviewed in 2005, and at a time when our society in the UK has largely turned its back on our Christian heritage and has become even more divided and angry and unforgiving, and at the same time desperate for justice and peace and acceptance. I believe it even more strongly now. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, Jesus said. It's a precious thing that Pangbourne is a community which can point to this and seeks to be a place where every individual is valued and cared for, however imperfectly we live it out. Pangbourne was advertised in 2005 as having a distinctive ethos. For the first 10 years, we used the strapline, "Proud to be different," until we found others were copying it. But I believe the distinction, the difference, what makes Pangbourne special, is found in those three things: our naval and ceremonial traditions, the strong sense of community, and in the flag values and the Christian ideas which underpin them. Now it's time for a change of voice. I'd like to invite Jemima Nusi and Will Roden-Lee, the Chief Cadet Captains of the College, to give their reflections on the year and their time here.
morning, all. I hope you are well and ready for the long summer holidays ahead. As we gather for the final term and the final time for some, I want to reflect on our lives at Pangbourne and what a time these last years have been, especially for those of us in the upper sixth that are leaving. Most of us have been here 5 years, some of us 4 or 3, and a few others 2. However, no matter the quantity of the time spent at this college, the Pangbourne experience still remains the same. Let's take a trip down memory lane. I want you to think of the September of the year that you joined. For parents, the year that your child joined. And for teachers, the year your pupils joined. When the uniform was too big, with skirts down to their knees and shirts swallowing them whole. I'm sure you were all nervous, especially as a parent and a pupil. Being in a new place can be tough, with new people, new environment, and even a new language. From kitchens to galleys, dining rooms to mess hall, cabins to instead of dorms. It's a lot to learn, but you all did it while still growing into your uniform. As the year goes on, you're roped into div song practice, rehearsing religiously, showing your musical talent, and gathering your house in an attempt to win the Div Song Cup. An attempt that has been very successful for one house in particular. You sulk and you frown at the same old result, but before you know it, you're gearing up for the next divisional competition, bringing out the boots and hockey sticks. Everyone's participation counts, from year 9 to 13, to be the best overall on the divisional sports field. Then putting the equipment down to get on the erg, which made me realise my career in wearing would have to be cut short. I also can't forget everyone's personal favourite, the 100%, which is never, ever complained about by any of the pupils, ever. The sports continue throughout the year and are ever-changing, term by term. Every single match, race and regatta, highly competitive, with the ambition to play your best either against other schools or houses. However, a sport does not tickle your fancy. Divisions come together to show off their culinary skills in both divisional come dine with me and bake-off. Some dishes being incredible to both the taste buds and eyes, and others, thankfully, didn't give the judges food poisoning. In come dine with me, the creativity is profound, in not just the cooking, but the entertainment as well. We've had live musical performance, casino nights, and even a wedding. The bride in particular looks stunning in his dress. Or if you're more of the brains of the operation, you may be a member of the Div Quiz team, where your general knowledge was put to the test. Every team was scouring their brains for answers, but alas, it was no use against the mighty Macquarie. Finally, getting to the end of the year, Div Drama made its return just in time for the upper sixth to give it one last go. Who knew we had so many A-list actors? People stepping out their comfort zone, each giving us a great performance, with some that will be more remembered than others. Although, maybe it wasn't the division events that you remember as the height of your experience. Maybe it was the marching that you so often dreaded but now wouldn't mind doing for a final time. Maybe it was the friends you made when you joined and now stuck it through all the way, or the friends you wish you had made sooner. Maybe it was the concerts and productions you got to be a part of, or got to witness and take pride in friends' and families' performances. Or the late-night chats in house with Homs, the GCSE science lessons, getting ready for house dinners, seeing Ross at the cafe, your favourite lunch, the academic grind, the Christmas fair, the daily bus rides, the chats at mealtimes, your favourite teachers, the highs and the lows, the laughs and the cries. Maybe it was just the experience of being a Pangbourne pupil. Whatever you decide it to be, I hope you carry it with you, the times which shaped you, and the values. Respect, moral courage, integrity, selflessness, resilience, industry, kindness, and initiative. For those of you in the other year groups who still have time before their departure, enjoy these moments, because you'll repeat them again for a few years or so, until you realise you're doing it all for the last time. The last song practice, last match, last cook-off, last lesson, last cafe visit, last late-night cabin chat, last assembly, last parade, last goodbye. For the leavers, in the words of Julius Caesar and partially myself, you came, you saw, you conquered. And you will do it again with even more triumph as you move forward to the next stages of your life. To you all, I wish good luck. For whatever happens from this day forward, I'm sure you will excel in all you do. And for the leavers, well done for making it to the finish line. Not everyone who started did, so I guess you could call it survival of the fittest. It's been a pleasure being at Pangbourne with you, at whatever stage we met, and however much we interacted. You have been a great cohort, and I look forward to hearing about what you do in the future. Thank you all, and thank you, Pangbourne.
Morning all. Hope everyone is well, especially on this clearly very sunny day. My name is Will Roten-Lee, and last year I was fortunate enough to be selected as the CCCC along with Jemima. It's been an interesting and great experience for which I've learnt a lot and had a pretty good time. When receiving the email for the Founders' Day speech, one of the tasks was to talk about the best moments from this year, for which there are a few. Aside from the generic highlights, like div music, school trips, and maybe sport, I like to stage this year's highlights as more personal and everyday. A lot of my favourite moments actually happened in division. For those who don't know, I'm in Hesperus, that's us, and we muster a pretty good number of boarders. My favourite parts are on Friday, when we order in pizza, talk good chat, and have a movie night, in which we've discovered a variation of Hollywood masterpieces. Another good moment is the Hesperus song, When I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars. This has been a long tradition and takes place after every event. The whole house would gather in the smallest room and everyone would start chanting their hearts out, unfortunately resulting in the wake-up of Mr. Cheney's children, for which we are still very sorry. It is always a great moment of camaraderie in the house and gives me goosebumps thinking about it now. Boarding nights were a lot of fun and I was very lucky to be surrounded by a good group of chaps. I don't think I can get away making the speech without slightly mentioning the brilliant yet tragic sport of rowing. I've a lot of memories from rowing, some high and many low. However, throughout this year, the senior rowers have truly bonded together, not only through exhaustion and severe muscle fatigue, but the weekend spent together at regattas and trips abroad. The season has brought around many great snippets, from the trip to Belgium all the way through to the race at Henley this past week. I've thoroughly enjoyed the time, and I wish the boat club many successes in the future. Back when I was scraping through my business GCSE, we were always taught about the unique selling point of a business and how firms can stick out from their competitors. For me, I reckon Pangbourne's USP is the opportunity given to students to accomplish many things. Over the years, all of us leavers have taken part in all sorts of activities, and a wide selection means that there is always something for someone at Pangbourne. For example, if you like adventure, do D&V. If you like playing soldier, join the CCF. If you're slightly musical, you might have a chance at the marching band. And if you're a theatre fanatic, have a go at the production. Alongside the diversity in sport and extracurricular activities, Pangbourne also hosts some great events, both divisional and external. A recent example of this would be the Falkland Memorial Service, which gives students a dynamic experience to converse and serve lunch to Falkland veterans. I recommend you try it at least once, as it is a unique opportunity and the veterans do give good tips. Therefore, my advice for current and future pupils moving up the school, it would be to have a go, have a crack, Try everything the school has to offer, because you only get 5 years, and if you don't try, you'll never know. And then you'll never have anything to look back on. You have nothing to lose, and you might surprise yourself and have a blistering time. Now that all the main dialogue is sort of out the way and over, time for some quick thanks and mentions. I guess I should probably start by thanking the parents. Not only have they very generously funded my education for the past 5 years, but they've put up with my complaining and have come under employment into my personal taxi service, taking me from school to many other destinations across Berkshire. Next, I would like to thank Mr. Garnier for this opportunity of a year. I'm truly grateful for this role, due to its responsibilities and the fact that I get to know some inside secrets on the school and the headmaster. An example of this would be Mr. Garnier's unhealthy obsession with chicken nuggets. Jemima can vouch for me. When we were at McDonald's and Sir sat in the corner like a happy schoolboy with his box of nuggets, opened them and just completely inhaled them. Seconds. It was very impressive. A shout out must also go to Mrs. Garnier for always being really caring and turning up to every event with her camera and preparing to capture the great moments that we have all had. Everyone wishes the best for your futures, and many thanks for your service towards the college. To my partner in crime, Jemima, working alongside you has been an absolute treat, and I would like to think we've done an all right job. We've had some fun times, and also maybe some stressful ones as well. However, you are very confident, a strong leader, and a brilliant character. I'm positive that you'll go on to do some great things. Finally, to my fellow leavers, we have had an absolute blast. And I'm so proud of all of you for making it this far. We may have lost a couple along the way, but everyone has seemed to survive pretty far, as Jemima touched upon earlier. I'm sure the rest of the school would join me in thanking all of you for making it an enjoyable and exciting 5 years. I wish all of you the best of luck in the future, and let's go finish the job. Thank you for listening. Have a lovely day.
Thank you both, and to you and the rest of the Upper Sixth, thank you for your leadership, example and kindness which you've shown this year. And in beginning to wind up, although rather like a 747, if they're still flying, it takes a long time to get to the end of the runway. I want to thank sincerely all those who've helped to make this year what it's been, and also some who have supported me over a longer period of time. The governing body, who have been generous with their time and both supported and challenged the senior leadership team wisely. This has been true throughout my time, and Michael Alsop and Roger Lane Knott and Patrick Roberts, the chairs of governors, have been very supportive in particular. That's true of Jerry Pike, whose second master was at my right-hand man for 10 years, and I'm delighted he's here today. I've been blessed to have really committed and competent senior colleagues. And I want to thank especially today the senior management team for all that they do, all the heavy lifting they've done this year, always with professionalism, a glass-half-full attitude and good humour, and especially those I've worked most closely with, Sam Greenwood, Neil Warne, Mark Seckham, Mark Skidmore and Richard Follett. Amanda James, my highly efficient EA, who's provided such support to me in my role, and Susie Belcher, her predecessor, also here. All of the remainder of the staff in their various roles, split evenly between full-time and part-time, whether pupil-facing, such as the teaching, coaching and house staff, or in the myriad support roles behind the scenes, accounts, admissions, catering, cleaning, development, estates, IT, marketing, shop, works, and so on. I really appreciate their care and commitment. John Thorpe, who I can't see but I hope is here, chair of Vistage Group 123, to which I belong, who's coached me for the last 13 years with wisdom and kindness. And today I'd also like to thank Jane Wells, Chair of the PPA, and Philip Plato, Chair of the OP Society, and their committees for all the hard work, generosity and initiative which they've shown this year. Both Jane and Philip have served with distinction in their roles for 6 years and are stepping down, and Pippa Aslett has taken over as Chair of the PPA, and Rory Coppinger-Sims as Chair of the OP Society. I have a small gift for each of them, and I hope they found it on their chair when they came in. So thank you very much to both of you for your service. Some of you will know that we've been quietly fundraising towards a new boat club, and I want to thank all those who have collectively pledged a total of £1.4 million towards our target of 1.8 during the last 8 months. Their generosity has been amazing, and it gives me confidence that we'll get this project over the line. It's always a sadness to say farewell, and in addition to our leaving pupils in the upper 6th, Year 11 and a few others, we also have some teaching and pastoral staff who are leaving us. I pay tribute to Mr Ben Samways, Mr Tim Clark, Mr Richard Cook, Ms Katie Burrows, Dr Catherine Richard, Mrs Julie Hother, Mr Ian Young and Mrs Dawn Grehan yesterday, but I want to mention 2 who've made a particularly strong contribution this morning. Mrs Samantha Greenwood joined the college as Head of Maths from Marlborough in 2012. She quickly showed that she's an excellent teacher with absolute command of a classroom and outstanding subject knowledge. Whatever set she teaches, she demands the best from them and is tenacious in not letting them settle for less. These traits are combined with a great work ethic and administrative efficiency, and also a love of the outdoors and her commitment to D of E. So it's surprised nobody when she was asked to take on the challenging role of Head of Key Stage 4 in 2015, when the role became vacant. From there, she progressed to Deputy Head Academic, and then Deputy Head Character and Routines, a role essentially concerned with values, standards, and discipline, and then Senior Deputy Head in September 2022. In the course of her career, therefore, she's occupied almost every office in study block, but even the most comfortable sofa in the college wasn't enough to get her to sit still for very long. Just as she expects the best from every one of her pupils in maths, so she has insisted that standards of uniform, punctuality and behaviour have been maintained by staff too. Inevitably, this has led to confrontation. A wise head once told me that it was important to keep pupils engaged in a battle over relatively trivial matters so that they're kept distracted from more serious ones. More than one senior colleague has asked, where will we be without the confiscation queen? There have been times when Mrs Greenwood's office has looked more like the Lost Property Department at Paddington Station, such is the collection of phones, earrings and North Face jackets. But it would be a mistake to think that she's enjoyed that aspect of her role. She's challenged infringements because she had the responsibility to do so. And I admire greatly the integrity and moral courage she has shown and the resilience she needed day in, day out. For those of us who know her better, she's been a supportive, honest, industrious and selfless colleague and great fun to work with. Mrs Greenwood will be taking a break from teaching and we wish her well. She'll be missed. And as a token of her thanks, I'd like to ask her to come up and accept this gift. Today is also the day that Mr James Bamforth leaves Pangbourne. So if I had Kleenex, they'd be used quite a lot here. It's a great sadness to us all that because of family illness, he's unable to be here today. And in the tribute which follows, I'm indebted to Mr Metcalfe, who shared his own excellent tribute with me, with permission to harvest anything I liked. I liked it a lot. Mr Bamforth, known confusingly as WJB in college documents, but simply Bamo to most, joined Pangbourne in 2001 from Radley College. His first year was spent as the assistant housemaster in St George before moving into Macquarie in September 2002, as housemaster with his wife Charlotte. After several successful years at the helm of Macquarie, James moved into his current role as head of sixth form in 2011 a position which has seen him positively influence the lives of more than 800 Pangbournian sixth formers, and a role he's held with distinction ever since. Throughout his time, he's continued to teach his beloved classics and hosted the annual trip to Greece, a highlight for many of his students and their parents, along with many ski trips he's run over the years. His passion for the subject, incomparable knowledge, and his care of each student in the classroom always produced the results and generated wave after wave of students who would return many years later in search of their inspirational classics teacher. A schoolmaster rather than a teacher, Mr. Bamforth gave selflessly of his time to other aspects of college life, including rowing, where year after year James would happily take the crew other coaches were less keen to take on, invest his confidence in them, and they would respond in kind, believing in him as they would head towards the key races of the season with renewed hope and determination. His time as head of sixth form has quite literally shaped a generation of Pangbournians who he hopes, and often quotes, are acceptable at a dance, invaluable in a shipwreck. Perhaps one of his greatest legacies is the remarkable Taking Responsibility course, which, like the Year 9 trip to Langors, is a genuine turning point for many students. His infectious, enthusiastic nature saw every pupil take a huge amount from it, as well as staff clamouring to be involved. The course has grown steadily over the years, with recent additions including interview training, paddleboarding, and colour profiling. It's a form of psychometric testing used to identify an individual's traits and how they can be best used. His own report sat him firmly in the yellow quadrant, describing him as free-spirited, lively, sociable, spontaneous, and imaginative. To colleagues, this came as no surprise. His planning seemed scatty, disorganised, his thoughts scribbled illegibly on a piece of paper, but the plan somehow, almost miraculously, came together in the end, with Mr. Bamforth taking delight in taunting his blue quadrant colleagues by including as many fonts, sizes, and colours in the final document as possible. He's a glass nearly full kind of man, inclined to see the good in everyone, full of kindness and willingness to forgive. Pangbourne won't be the same without him, and we wish him well. And finally, I want to acknowledge publicly, here we go again, the support which my wife, Alexandra, has given me. She gave up her own career to support me. And she's worked tirelessly to try to promote the college and to celebrate the achievements of its pupils especially. Her initiative of the Piano Festival to promote the college's amazing new music facilities and pianos, the many thousands of photographs which Will referred to as well, taken in recent years to help the marketing and other departments, and the labour involved in the weekly bulletin, all come to mind, as do, but probably not seen, the investment of time in hosting, flower arranging, organising, hoovering, gardening, sweeping, and all the other ways in which she has rolled up her sleeves and served the college practically, normally without recognition. It's not an easy gig being married to a head and having to play second fiddle, even if it is your choice, because few people can really understand the sacrifice and the isolation involved unless they've lived it. Truly, she has given her all, and the up to a year off, which we now plan to take, is for her sake as much as mine. For us both, it's been a huge privilege to serve at Pangbourne. Thank you, God bless you all, and I'd now like to invite Mark Hutchinson to present the prizes.
We will, hopefully, award the Parade Cup and the Potemkin Cup out on parade. We will get there. So we will start with the Girls' Sports Cup in an envelope. In second place is Illawarra, but the winners are St George. Now, the Boys Sports Cup came absolutely down to the wire yesterday. There were just a small number of points in it. In joint second is Port Jackson and Harbinger. The winners are Hesperus. And the Heads Cup, which is awarded for the Academic House, in third place, often known as Top Boys House, Port Jackson. Second place, St George, so the winners are Illawarra. We will start with the year group prizes and we will begin with Dunbar. The performance prizes for all the year groups are awarded in recognition of exemplary academic performance throughout the year, and the Endeavour prizes are awarded in recognition of exemplary effort throughout the year. In Year 7, performance prizes are won by Bello Abdelmoumeni and Samuel Duffy. Endeavour prizes are won by Anna Ackworth and Molly Devlin and Freddie Hayward. Year 8 performance prizes are won by Tom Croucher and Ruby Darwar. Endeavour prizes are now won by Anna Ackworth and Zachary Robbins. The Year 9 performance prizes Year 9 performance prizes are won by Vita Patel and Maisie Stevenson. Endeavour prizes are won by David Bernand and Stella Evans. Year 10 performance prizes are won by Alexei Mihalchuk and Eva Skidmore. Endeavour Prizes are won by Molly Ferguson and Phoebe Shelley. Year 11? If I could ask year groups to stand up as the others finish coming on the stage, it would be really helpful. Thank you. The Year 11 performance prizes are won by Rory de Halpert and Theo Stevenson. Endeavour prizes are won by Erica Bevis and Jaden Merchandani. Lower sixth performance prizes are won by Imogen Ambrose, who is not here today, and Frederick Stokes, and Endeavour prizes are won by Eve Allen and Nino Mamisasvili. Sorry, Nino. Upper sixth performance prizes are won by Elizabeth Denley, Joshua Jackson and Ben Pritchard, and an Endeavour prize is won by Charles Bishop. Where there are citations written for the named prizes, I will be reading an extract from the full citation today. The full citations can be found by using the QR code in your programme or around the tent if you want to read them later. The Expressive Arts Prizes. The Marcus Graham Art Prize is won by Hattie Kingsland. Hattie is deeply involved in her work. She is passionate about its process and progression. As a highly skilled printmaker, she is capable of inventive and independent study at a standard that is not normally seen at A-level. Since becoming an art scholar in the sixth form, she has been a constant boon to the department, helping with open days, advocating for art amongst her peers, and being inspirational to younger students. Although further study will take her into the caring professions, she will doubtless always be filling sketchbooks and making items of aesthetic worth. Hattie Kingsland. The Music Performance Prize is awarded to Imi Kingsland. Imi has made a considerable and consistently excellent contribution to the musical life of the college over the past 5 years. A member of college choir, chamber choir and big band, she has also served her year as drum major with distinction. A talented vocal performer, she's undertaken several solos over the past 2 years, and her significant contribution to the success of the college's production of Chicago in 2023 was outstanding. She recently achieved a distinction pass in her Grade 8 singing exam, an achievement that served to confirm her first-class achievements as a performer. Imi Kingsland. The Open Prizes. The Ambrose White Prize is awarded to the individual who has overcome a significant deed in their life through resilience and bravery. Grace is a beacon of resilience and courage, epitomising the spirit of the Ambrose White Memorial Prize. Diagnosed 8 years ago with a serious heart and lung condition that severely limited the oxygen in her bloodstream, she has faced immense physical challenges, particularly with sports. Her condition deteriorated around Easter of 2023, making it a struggle just to walk between lessons. Remarkably, she still managed to complete her Bronze Duke of Edinburgh Award during this challenging period. In November 2023, Grace underwent a double lung transplant, a major operation that required her to miss a term of school. Demonstrating extraordinary fortitude, she returned to school in March and has since re-engaged with sports, a testament to her unwavering spirit. In fact, she ran the 100 metres in the sports day on Thursday. Grace's journey has not only been about personal recovery, but also about maintaining her positivity and drive. Her exceptional work ethic and determination have fueled her personal progress and enabled her to continue making significant contributions to the community. Grace's courage and selflessness, demonstrated through her perseverance and positive impact on others, make her a deserving recipient of this reward. Her incredible journey and dedication serve as an inspiration to all, reflecting the highest qualities of a true Pangbournian. Grace Jeffers. The Shield is awarded to the best cricketer and is awarded on Founders' Day when the individual has committed a significant amount to all college sport. Ben is a scrappy sportsman who leads by example and determination, always striving to defy his opponents and make every run he can. His outstanding commitment to sport throughout his time at Pangbourne has been exemplary. Having been a member of the first 11 cricket team since year 10, Ben has consistently demonstrated leadership, especially in the face of adversity when things have not gone the team's way. He has maintained an excellent balance between his academic studies and sporting endeavours throughout his time here. Well respected within the house, many of the younger boys aspire to emulate his achievements. Ben is a true Pangbournian and will undoubtedly thrive at university, where he will read economics and politics. Ben Greenwood. Prize is awarded to the most improved mathematician in Year 9. This year, Ralph Tompkins. The Keith Evans Prize, awarded to the most public-spirited, supportive and positive member of Year 9, is awarded to William Peters. Nigel Hollowbone Prize, awarded to the pupil in Year 11 who demonstrates most clearly the characteristics of a good citizen, is awarded to Faith Merry. prizes are awarded to members of the Upper Sixth who have shown an outstanding contribution to the college during their time here. Charlotte is a young woman who epitomises assertiveness, diligence, care and success, as described by her peers in the division. Her life at Pangbourne has been marked by selflessness, integrity and resilience, and her outstanding contributions this year to the school's charity initiatives have been exceptional. She's also done a little bit of rowing. Charlotte's rowing achievements include being part of a National Schools Regatta silver medal winning crew, marking the best result for a Pangbourne girls crew to date. Remember, everything you lose is a step you take. Charlotte Bishop. When we consider the impact Henry has made on Pangbourne and Macquarie in the 2 short years he has been with us, it is not surprising that he is receiving this Heads Prize. Henry's selfless nature has seen him give his time and energy to a variety of activities, excelling in his role as Charity CC, as well as providing exceptional service as Cadet Regimental Sergeant Major in the CCF and supporting the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Henry Byron. As well as the Heads Prize, Alice also wins an Upper Sixth Performance Prize. Alice is an eternally positive presence at the college, excelling in academics, sports and divisional competitions. Over the past 7 years, she has shown outstanding commitment to Pangbourne sport, representing the college's first teams for 3 years in each term, and serving as an excellent captain for netball and tennis. Following her trip to Nabagabo Learning Centre in Uganda last summer, Alice has shown impressive dedication and vigour in support of the huge charity, raising a significant amount of money. The fact that the boys were willing to play netball in netball dresses shows the respect that they have for her. Alice Dutton. Since joining us in Year 9 as a shy and quiet boy, Toby has emerged full of confidence, earning the complete respect of the whole college. He takes on his duties with pride, always giving 100% to the task at hand. He has played 3 years of first-team cricket and hockey and acts as a calming influence to those around him in times of stress. Tobias King. Annabelle is best remembered by most of the college for her role as Roxy Hart in Chicago. Not only did she fulfill this role entirely and fully, but her skill as an experienced choreographer meant she was never out of the drama department. As a skilled and creative teacher, Annabelle amended and choreographed for the cast, then continued the teaching role during her time in Treasure Island, fully deserving the position of cadet captain for the arts. Her bright and bubbly personality, along with her wicked sense of humour, always lifts the mood of those around her. Annabelle Usher. The Heads Tankers are awarded to the outgoing chiefs of divisions. The Harbinger is Josh Bodymead. Sorry. Josh has been an exemplary chief of Harbinger, earning admiration from peers and staff alike through his unwavering respect for others. His leadership style is defined by his proactive approach, always leading from the front and ensuring everyone feels included and valued. His kindness, consideration, and deep compassion set a high standard for others to follow. In addition to working extremely hard on his academics, Josh has represented the college admirably in sports throughout his last 7 years here, participating in 4 sports with pride. His year group's camaraderie at the Harbinger dinner was a testament to his leadership, and his speech was typically Josh, humorous and sensitive, bringing everyone into focus. Josh Bodymead. This year, Hesperus has been led by Ben Waters. Ben has been the go-to person in Hesperus Division for pupils this year. His friendly and approachable nature has been warmly welcomed by the boys in the house, and Ben has always been willing to give his time to others. He has led the division effectively, and with the support of his peers, has fostered a strong sense of camaraderie, especially in sports. This year, Hesperus has enjoyed significant success, as we hear, winning the Divisional Sports Cup in all 3 terms, as well as winning it overall. As the first team football captain for the last 2 years, Ben has shown composure and skill in his position. Ben Waters. This year, Illawarra has been led by Clover Merry. When Clover was appointed as Chief of Illawarra, it was hoped she would uphold the house values of kindness, integrity and respect. Reflecting now, we can confidently say she has exceeded all expectations, becoming a steadfast force of kindness throughout the year. She has driven up standards and achieved success with the Heads Cup. Clover has also been a very committed sports performer at Pangbourne, being part of the first 11 hockey team for 3 years and representing the first boat in rowing throughout this time. I hope Clover can recognise how incredibly talented she is and continue to grow in confidence. Clover, we are so proud of what you have accomplished. You have left a lasting impact on Illawarra Division and the college as a whole, and your legacy will inspire future generations. Clover Merry. Macquarie has been led by Ben McGregor-Wood. Ben is an outstanding leader who has embodied the flag values in abundance during his time at Pangbourne. In his final year, he has stepped up and led Macquarie from the front, showing care for others, involving himself fully in the college programme, taking on responsibilities and demonstrating high standards in all he does. Ben's journey through Pangbourne has not always been smooth, but like all successful individuals, he has pushed through challenging times, sought help when needed, and remained positive throughout. As a mature, disciplined, and hard-working individual, Ben has consistently practiced what he's preached, serving as a role model for younger students. It is no mean feat to stand up in a chapel full of young pupils and lead them in your favourite Pangbourne hymn, but Ben did it with aplomb. Ben McGregor-Wood. Seek the epitome of a Pangbourne student, look no further than Josh. Academic, sporty and musical, he has immersed himself in everything the college has to offer. Josh is an affable young man who has led from the front in Port Jackson, motivating and serving as a role model to younger students, both on the sports field and in divisional competitions. Throughout his time at the college, he has contributed to the musical and ceremonial aspects of our life, as well as on the sports field. As the first 15 rugby captain in his upper 6th year, Josh has demonstrated exceptional commitment. Having played in the first 15 for 3 years, making his debut at just 15 years old in Year 11, he has consistently shown maturity beyond his years, leading by example. It is fitting that he is heading to South Africa next week with the Lambs touring squad, and we wish him safe travels and many wins. Josh Bywater. St George Division has been led by Ellen Williams. Ellen has been an outstanding chief in St George this year, always eager to support and help the girls. She has organised, encouraged and inspired in equal measure. Sports are her natural environment, and it was no surprise that she excelled in organising teams and ensuring the girls remained positive on the pitch. Although usually highly competitive, Ellen ensured that all the girls received fair game time and that everyone was encouraged to be involved. Her firm but fair leadership style has earned her the support and admiration of others when needed. She has represented the hockey First 11 for 3 years, being part of one of the most successful periods in college history. Ellen has also served as team captain during her upper 6th year. She led by example, always with a smile on her face. From the small, permanently cheerful and positive gestures to the girls, to her consistent and fair management of parades, Ellen's influence has been profound. Ellen Williams. To the academic prizes and start with the Austin Anderson Prize for the top humanities student. Thomasin has a unique combination of exceptional intellect and astonishing work ethic that have set her apart as an outstanding student at Pangbourne. Her dedication to literature has been truly remarkable, and combined with a sharp, critical mind and meticulous attention to detail, this has earned her top marks in her English. Her enthusiasm for cultural topics has been exceptional, and Thomasin's impressive individual research project on the life and poetry of Marceline de Valmore showcased her deep understanding and dedication to Francophone culture. Her work has been used as a model for her peers, and her poetry and short stories, including a notable placement, and her achievements extend beyond the classroom with national accolades for her poetry and short stories, including a notable placement in a national poetry competition. Thomasin's ability to express ideas with clarity and maturity, combined with her quiet confidence and reflective approach, ensures she will excel in her future studies. Thomasin Munro. Languages Cup is awarded to the top language student in the upper 6th. Eva is an exceptionally talented linguist. She studied both French and Spanish in the lower school and has excelled at A-level French. A keen Francophile, she has enjoyed studying French culture and society immensely, but also has a sharp eye for grammar and translation. Her individual research project, part of the A-level speaking exam, beautifully combined her future study of medicine with her interest in the Francophone world. She produced an excellent representation in French on the measles epidemic in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Not only is Eva a talented, hard-working and enthusiastic student, she also cares deeply about those around her. The focus of her work as a senior scholar has been around improving the mental well-being of high-achieving students. And as the chair of the Charlotte Drake Society, she's pioneered a body positivity workshop in Dunbar this year. A truly exceptional student. We wish her well in her future studies to become a doctor, an ambition she has maintained since she started all those years ago as a pupil in Dunbar. Eva Griffin. This one's going to be quite long because not only has Joe won the Jude Memorial Prize for the top scientist, he has also won the Drama Front Book. Joe's unwavering commitment to his academic studies is evident in his late-night efforts and disciplined approach, ensuring no detail is overlooked. His thoughtful and incisive nature sets him apart, constantly seeking a deeper understanding and never shying away from challenging material. Joe is not one to be spoon-fed. Instead, delighting in extracting the fullest of explanations from his teachers. His teachers describe him as one of the most talented scientists they have ever taught. Joe's methodical and innovative thinking demonstrates his profound subject mastery. His intellectual versatility shone brightly in the senior divisional quiz as well, where his quick thinking and extensive knowledge led his team to victory. They scored as many points as the rest of the competitors combined. And for the prompt book, Joe, our first drama technical scholar since 2014, has been involved with productions throughout his time at Pangbourne. In Year 7, he joined Mr. Kearney's tech crew and helped out with the Year 9 production, and has been involved with Dunbar, Year 9 and college productions ever since. He started gaining an understanding on the sound and lighting desks and very quickly progressed to the complicated world of deputy stage manager, meaning he more or less runs the show. Joe is generous with his time, teaching much younger pupils about the technical side of things and passing on his love of it to them. We confidently recognise Joe as the deserving recipient of the Due Memorial Prize, as well as the drama prompt book, certain that he will excel as he leaves to read natural sciences at the University of Bath. Joe de Halpert. The Old Pangbournian Prize is awarded to the top academic student in the upper sixth. Ollie has consistently been an outstanding role model, both in and out of the classroom. His commitment to maintaining high standards across challenging A-level subjects is commendable. Balancing a significant extracurricular programme with his studies, Ollie has demonstrated remarkable dedication and skill. Teachers across his subjects have identified him as one of the most outstanding students they have encountered in their teaching careers. His EPQ on chaos mathematics was one of the best pieces of work ever encountered at the college. His impeccable computer science coursework reflects a deep understanding and intellectual curiosity that goes beyond the classroom. Ollie's drive to expand his knowledge and tackle difficult challenges is impressive. In physics, he is praised for his clear, concise and rigorous approach to both theoretical and practical work. His answers, devoid of unnecessary fluff, reflect a commitment to truth and critical thinking, ensuring only accurate information is accepted. His maths teachers praise his intuitive problem-solving skills and remarkably precise execution. Ollie's academic journey is a testament to his intellectual capability, meticulous approach and unwavering determination. He leaves us to read computer science at the University of Bath. Ollie Edwards. We are nearly there, I promise. The King's Gold Medals are awarded to the outgoing chiefs of the college. Last year, the King graciously agreed to continue the tradition of awarding the medal, but the cast was not made in time for the medals to be awarded on Founders' Day a year ago. Archie McAllister is currently in New Zealand, and his was awarded, presented to his parents last week. But we're very pleased that Gemma Swire-Thompson is able to be with us today. Gemma is a passionate, driven and determined individual. She worked hard to lead the college with dignity and poise, always willing to step up and do things to support her fellow pupils, often demonstrating a laudable selflessness. Gemma was called upon to take significant and high-profile responsibilities as an ambassador for the college, most notably at Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's state funeral. She was always fully committed both in the classroom and on the sports field, a member of the boys' first 11 in cricket for the last 3 years. She often punished any underestimation by her opponents. Gemma Swire-Thompson. Jemima is hard-working, ambitious, and always wants to learn more. She sets herself clear targets, and she makes sure that she reaches her objectives along the way. She is diligent in her preparations for lessons and participates in lively class discussion with vigour and thoughtfulness. Jemima is able to balance a busy schedule and participates fully in college life without letting her commitment to academic study wane. Outside of the classroom, Jemima is a talented dramatist and has performed lead roles in school productions to loud applause. She's been an excellent ambassador for the college and a respected role model. An advocate for diversity, Jemima put herself forward to be a leading member of our Racial Diversity and Inclusion Working Party. She has warmth and kindness, coupled with excellent manners and a willingness to put in hard work to achieve her goals. She embodies the school's flag values wholeheartedly. We wish Jemima well as she leaves us to study marketing at Southampton University. Jemima Nisi. Will is a hard-working and conscientious student. Unfailingly upbeat and alert, I don't think we can argue after his speech, he needs no prompting to be fully engaged, and his enthusiasm shines through. Throughout his time here, Will has been a keen musician and sportsman, showing particular dedication to the rowing. There is no doubt that Will's input has led to a very caring and yet vibrant atmosphere within the college. He has the ability to talk to anyone, no matter what year they are in. He's a witty individual who uses his wordsmith skills to great effect, both in and out of the classroom. Will has been a fabulous role model to the younger years in the college, and particularly within Hesperus, and has exemplified the qualities we want to see in our Chief Cadet Captain of the college. We wish him well as he heads off to study law in the future. Will Roten Lee.
Well, that's an impressive bunch of people, isn't it? I'm sure there's a lot of proud parents in the room. And congratulations not just to those who won prizes, to all of you who are moving on. Is that the right word? Passing out? I'm not sure that's, but leaving, anyway, for all of those who are leaving. And, I know I'm in the I thought I was going to be in the graveyard slot just before lunch, but instead I'm in the graveyard slot just before a rather soggy parade. So if you're hoping I was short, you might want me to be a bit longer until the rain stops. So I was listening to the radio driving into London earlier this week, mulling over my speech whilst not really listening to it. And some of you will remember a rather lugubrious cabinet minister from the sunset days of the major government called Stephen Dorrell was being interviewed. And it came to the end of his interview, and the presenter on Times Radio, Stig something, I can't remember his surname, said, "You know what, he's my favourite politician." And given it was this week, I thought that seemed pretty appropriate. But then he said, why is he your favourite politician? And he said, well, he gave out prizes at our school prize day when I was at school. And he stood up and said, "You've had enough speeches, so I'm not going to say anything," and sat down again. And he said he's always been his favourite politician ever since. So I'm not going to quite do that, because I think that would be unfair on the head and the vice chair. But I was thinking about what I talk about today. And, I'm not famous. And I thought, well, do I talk about those days when I was training as a chartered accountant before we had computers in the office? And I didn't think that would be very interesting, apart from perhaps the story about when I set off the fire alarms by starting a bin fire in a waste paper basket using it as an ashtray. I thought maybe I could talk about trying to negotiate $1 billion solar deal in South Africa right during lockdown, when you couldn't actually meet anyone and were being asked for bribes, which you obviously couldn't do. I thought, do I talk about slightly Bizarrely, I had a #1 record in Peru on alternative rock radio, which is slightly surreal. I've got a small but dedicated following in Lagos who seem to like my music. But then I think the one thing I would talk about, so it was mentioned in the preamble from the head, but I ran something called the Marathon des Sables a few years ago. And it was a few years ago, so I was a little bit fitter and slimmer than I am now. But it taught me a number of lessons in life, and I thought there may be some of them which I could share with you, particularly for those who are leaving the school and going to study or start work or volunteering or whatever it is that you have in your plans. Now, the Marathon des Sables, for those who don't know it, it's called the toughest foot race in the world, which may be a slight over-exaggeration, but it's 5 days across the Sahara Desert. It's about 250 kilometres, about 160 miles that you run in that time, and it's called a self-supporting marathon. So other than your tent and the water that they give you every 10 miles or so, you have to have everything with you on your back, so about 15 kilograms, including a 1 kilogram emergency flare. And it's considered pretty tough, and some people, Andrew Cracknell, some of you know of him, he did it, and Ranulph Fiennes did it just after a double open heart surgery. And the thing about the race, it's pretty tough, it's long, and there are camels that follow at the back. And the one thing that you have to do is beat the camels. So you don't have to run the whole thing, you can walk some of it, but if the camels overtake you, then you're out of the race. And there were a few things I learned along the way, and the first one might sound slightly obvious, but there is a lesson in it, and that it's very, very long. And because it's very, very long, you can't sprint it. So, in fact, you can't even run at what you might regard as a normal pace. So for those of you, anyone here run a marathon before? One or two. So you might say a 4-hour marathon might be a pretty good par for an amateur runner. Really, the fastest you can probably run a marathon in the Sahara, particularly when you've got another 4 of them to run the next day, is probably about 6.5 or 7 hours. So you go slowly. But the real trick of it is to go at the right pace. Now, I'm slightly older than I was. I'm 55. I've been working 35 years. I reckon roughly I've worked about 7,500 days so far. Probably got another 20 years or so, I imagine I'll be working. Probably done about 70,000 hours in that time, I would imagine. And I remember when I was starting out in work, I was in a desperate hurry. I really wanted to get promoted quickly, get on, get the next qualification, get the promotion, get the pay rise. And the trouble with that, you can't sustain that pace. And part of the trick as you embark on the next phase of life is going at the right pace for you. There is no rush. There is no rush. Drink in the experiences as you go along the way. Learn what you can, but just go at the right pace. There's no rush. And experience often trumps youth. So it's long. Second thing is it's multi-stage. So as I said, it's five days, but you run through very, very different environments. So probably in your mind, I gave out about 18 copies of Dune today, as a book seemed to be sort of the book of choice as a prize. So you have a picture of these sort of sand dunes, like Lawrence of Arabia and the camels over the desert. Some of it is like that, but some of the Sahara is dried out riverbeds with sort of rocks and stones. And of course, the Sahara, for those of you who know your evolutionary geography or geology or both, would know that the Sahara was actually under the water until not so many million years ago. And so a lot of it is actually dried out rock beds embedded within them these kind of anemones, these fossilized anemones, which of course were deep under the sea at some stage. So it's multi-stage and lots of different environments along the way. So sometimes you're climbing mountaintops, sometimes you're running through dried riverbeds, some of it you're kind of lumbering up and down, surfing down the other side of dunes. And the important thing about it being multi-stage and being and lots of different environments, again, when I look at my life of work over the last 30 years or so, I've done lots of different things. Now, my dad, he's no longer with us, but he left school at 16, went into national service, and then joined a bank at 17, 18, and then he retired from the same bank when he was 60. People don't really do that anymore. Some do, but for most people, the thing is, as you embark on your next stages of life, those of you who are in upper sixth and leaving now, you're probably going to do a number of different things. over the next few years. So don't get too hung up on what is the specific thing I should be doing next, but treat every single piece as a piece of the long-term journey and accept that it's going to be multi-stage. And that's kind of the way of life. The third thing I'd say about the Marathon des Sables, you can't just turn up and run it. You kind of have to train. And I think it was about 18 months of training for me with a few injuries along the way. But it's not just running. So when you're training for something like that, you have to learn a whole bunch of skills. So there's a lot of endurance that you need to build up, because really the hard thing in the Marathon des Sables is just keeping going. You know, it was 55, 60 degrees, 58 I think was the hottest day when we were running. So it got pretty warm. You have to carry, you get water every 10 miles or so, but it gets kind of warm and brackish. It's not very refreshing. You have to learn nutrition. You need to learn about what you're going to cook for yourself. You've got to work out the kit, how you cope with the heat, how you cope with the sand in your shoes. So there's a whole load of things that you have to practice for and train, a whole load of new skills that you acquire entering, preparing, and doing something like that. And again, when I look at my work, so I now, as the head said, I run a venture fund. We invest in technology services businesses, so we're building technology businesses. But if I look at the skills, the people that we have in those businesses, they're entirely different from the skills that existed 30 years ago. Who ever heard of someone who designs algorithms? Does anyone know what a service designer does? A cyber specialist, a pen tester. These are all skills that, you know, when I was a young lad leaving university wondering what I'd do next, I never thought I'd become a pen tester. No, I haven't, but I employ pen testers. There's penetration. Those are people who hack into systems, try and find the vulnerabilities within banking software, for example. So they're very useful people because they find the problem before some nefarious criminal somewhere else in the world does. So there's a whole bunch of skills that, and the skills that you're going to need 20 years from now, even 5 years from now, with the kind of rapid development in generational AI and large language models and big data models, it's just changing very, very fast. The world of work is changing. So think about, how do I continue to acquire new skills, new experiences? Because one thing I can tell you is the skills that you're going to need 10 years from now could well be fundamentally different from those that certainly were needed 10 years ago. So training is really important. Fourthly, nutrition. So you go on the race. This is, as I said, it's a self-sustaining ultramarathon, so you have to carry on your back everything you're going to eat. And you're probably burning about 5,000 calories a day on a race like that. Now, you can't carry 5,000. I mean, you'd be dead. But so you have to accept that you're not going to quite be able to cover them. But you do have to find kind of high calorific, high energy things, and drink plenty of water and eat the right energy bars. My favourite snack was the pork scratchings, which are absolutely foul and disgusting things that should never have been invented. But when you're in the desert and you're hot and you've been running for 8 hours, and they're the nicest food stuff in the world. So pork scratchings are the thing for me. But nutrition is really important. Now, I don't know about you, but I can lose 2 hours any day scrolling through flipping reels on Facebook. It's the easiest thing to do. And suddenly go, 2 hours gone, and all I've done is watch 18 episodes of Family Guy and 3 of Bottom or something like that. And your nutrition. Nutrition's really important, not just when you're running a race, but also just in life. So the things that you absorb kind of impact you in terms of your life. So I'd kind of encourage you. There's nothing wrong with reels every now and then. Every now and then we need a pork scratching. But at the same time, we also need wholesome food, substantial food, things that will build us up and make us kind of stronger and more meaningful individuals. So do think about the nutrition, those things that you consume, either what you read, what you watch, what you look at online. So nutrition is really important. And then the final point I would make, it's very easy to get lost. So when you're running 1,000 of you across the desert, it's kind of all right. There's usually someone in front of you, someone behind. You've got a route map. There are markers every now and then. But on the Marathon des Sables, the 4th day is a nasty twist. So it's a double marathon on the 4th day. So the first 3 days are slightly shorter than a marathon. And then the 4th day actually runs into the 5th day for some people. You run a kind of a 55, 60-mile race, which means inevitably you're running in the dark. And they give you glow sticks, which you put on the back of your pack. And so once it gets dark, you crack the glow stick, put it in your back, and you hope that there's someone a bit further ahead than you, and you can see their glow stick and follow it. but especially because they realise that people do get lost. In fact, one year, an Italian policeman got caught in a sandstorm, disappeared off the track, found by the helicopter 5 days later, huddling in a cave, having survived by drinking his own urine and bat's blood. So that can happen. So it's kind of best to know. It's best to know the way you're going. So during the dark, what they do, they shine from the very end point a laser beam up into the sky. And so it's pitch black. You might or might not be able to see someone's glow stick ahead of you, but you can see the laser beam. And by seeing the laser beam, you can see the way that you're going. And I would say again, so the headmaster shared a bit about his faith and the importance of the Christian ethos in this school. And I would say, for some of you are believers, some of you won't be, but I would encourage all of you to know where you're going, to know where that light is shining, and run towards it. In fact, I'll just finish with the lines from one of my songs. I wrote a song about this called Stumble, which is my best-selling listened-to song in Peru and Nigeria, I'd just like to say. Just a little advert there. Lima, Lagos, and Lisbon seem to be my 3 favourite cities. But the lines are, so the sun has set, the moon is risen, blue as ice in the sky. Across the dunes we slip and stumble, we face another 40 miles. The feeble pool from torch or flashlight reveals the stones but not the way. Without illumination, we run on blind to fall, to stray. Then rising in the distance, a shaft of laser breaks the night. Can't remember the line now. The shaft of laser breaks the night. It shows the destination. We run towards the light. We run towards the light. So that would be my passing words. So as you leave the school, whether you go to study, to work, know what light it is that you're looking for and run towards it. Thank you.
I know what I'm about to do is going to get me a detention from Sam Greenwood, but I'm prepared to take that risk. We've heard a lot about Thomas and Alex today, but Alex is sat there and Thomas is sat here. So I would like Alex to come up on the desk to be with Thomas for one last round of applause from you all.
Thank you very much. You're very kind. And that now concludes the proceedings. We warmed to our theme. Prize giving has gone on a little bit longer than it was scheduled to do, even taking account of its moving. But the rain has stopped. So that's good. So half an hour, I think. I'm looking at the bursar, Neil, one who is giving me a thumbs up. So about half an hour to leave here. Carefully get up to the programme. There's refreshments up there. Please do, be ready for that. And then the parade will start at 12 o'clock. And after that, we'll go more or less immediately into Beat Retreat. Thank you very much, everyone.